shit, Sarah. All day. Hell yeah.
Arm wrestling's about to take place.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Italia. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Click that like button and help my growing channel. With that being said, I'd like to introduce tonight's special guest. He is the #1 arm wrestler of Australia, Lachlan Adair. Welcome, brother.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, brother. Happy to have you on here.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So as we all know, Lachlan's got a very, very big super match coming up on January 8th. It's going down in Purcellville, Virginia, hosted by Travis Bagent. I'm also in charge of promotions, Italia Arm Wrestling Promotions. We'll be taking care of all the promotions. And so Lachlan, wanted to kind of just start off at the beginning and kind of get your whole background before we jumped into the actual event and all. Wanted to learn, when did you actually start arm wrestling? How long ago was that?
I started, well, I don't know what year, but 5 years ago. So what's that? 2017 is when I started. So around that, 2016, I think it was the end of 2016. So and before that, I was just powerlifting. I kept up with the powerlifting for probably until about 3 years ago.
So how old are you now?
32.
32. So how many years, when did you begin powerlifting?
Man, I started lifting weights when I was 15. I was a sprinter all growing up, and then I hurt my quad, and rehab was squats. So that kind of started me off in the powerlifting. So I've been lifting weights pretty seriously for 17 years now.
And do you consider your powerlifting background, do you see that translated over into arm wrestling?
No. Short answer, no. But there's a couple of things that do. Like, I'm comfortable redlining. So with people who keep on saying that I've never been taken into deep waters and I don't know what to do, I do that every day in the gym. So I'm comfortable in that kind of redline zone while maintaining technique, and that's always the thing with doing the big heavy lifts. So I think in that regard it helps. In other regards, I think having that core strength, I think a lot of arm wrestlers lack that, and it gives people like Todd and I a great power to go sideways because we've just got such strong core, and through our obliques we can just drive straight to the floor. So I think it kind of helps, but inherently no.
So I have a question. As I'm a bodybuilder, I came from the bodybuilding discipline, and the biggest thing that I realized when I got into arm wrestling is I was lacking hand strength. You know, I had all the arm power, all the muscles, everything, but I just couldn't get it to connect because I was at a weak hand. So it took me, a year or two to build that up. Did you have that problem at the beginning, or did powerlifting have your grip already strong?
My grip was okay. My fingers have always been really good, but where I fell down was wrist. Now, before I went to Zloty in 2019, the weights I was lifting, they were warm-up weights. The best weights that my opponents were doing was warm-up for me. But I was already kind of in my spot and doing the movements. So when I went to Zloty, I realized that my wrist was not nearly where it should be. I went into it going, no one's got a stronger arm than me. But they just took my wrist, like the guys who won, and I couldn't access shit. So coming home from Zloty, what do you think I've been doing for the past two and a bit years? It's just hand and wrist, mainly.
Very nice. So I also know that you train with Ryan Bowen. Ryan Bowen is a very great ambassador for arm wrestling, one of the top guys in Australia and all. How did you guys link up?
We were arm wrestling the same club, so we're from the same region. So it was actually my friend Torben that got me into arm wrestling. Torben, you've seen him, he was the big guy with the long blonde hair. Kept on bugging me to come to arm wrestling because I was at a powerlifting gym and so was he. And I just ran out of excuses. And I had Jordan Davis skinny guy. I weighed 30 kilos more than at the time, and he just pumped me. So what? Yeah, no, not letting this happen again. And that's how I started.
First off, what is the name of the team that you first started with?
Started off with the Brisbane Heavy Hitters. So
Brisbane Heavy Hitters, and that's where Ryan's part of?
Used to be. That club broke up. When Danny Tesh quit arm wrestling, that's when that club fell apart. So we kind of, there's 3 main clubs in Brisbane now, or across southeast Queensland, the state that I'm in, and we kind of, you know, we're a little bit nomadic between those 3 clubs. So we've got North Side, Gold Coast, and the Bayside, which I represent.
Now, what was it like when you got into arm wrestling? Did you come in here and you got it right away? Was it more of an ego where you got beat down for a while and you didn't want to lose no more? How did you first start off?
And I started arm wrestling. 4 weeks later, I competed. Got a couple of wins, but you know, we all know how our first comp goes. But in terms of ego, no, it was kind of just the bug hit me. So I just wanted to get better and better and better. And, you know, lost a bunch of times, obviously. And I was kind of like a very strong amateur for, the first couple of years. So I got given opportunities like pulling Devon, where I was not formally coached by anyone. So after Devon, that's when I saw coaching of Giannis Amelins over in Latvia.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So you went in right away, going right after the best in the world. I mean, to pull Devon Larratt as one of your first, that's pretty amazing in itself. Now, was that a super match? Was that in a tournament? What was that?
It was a super match on the left hand, because left hand I was dominant on. I injured it about my left arm. I injured my left arm about 8 months ago. And to be honest, I haven't bothered rehabbing it because my right just keeps getting stronger. So I just keep it like a little bit injured so I can keep the right arm, the money arm, nice and strong. So
now, what injury do you have on your left arm?
Well, look, it was nothing serious. I think I just strained my brachioradialis, kind of just through here, and yeah, like I can press with it, so I can arm wrestle with my left, but I can only really come forward in a press. So look, and it does really well. So yeah, but to be honest, it gets trained. To be fair, probably 2% of the time that my right does.
Wow. Okay, so that's the party arm.
That's the party arm, yeah.
So I wanted to get a kind of idea of your training, because coming from a powerlifting background and all, do you keep it with the powerlifting training, or have you moved on to a more arm wrestling specific training routine?
Yeah, so after being under the tutelage of Giannis for 18 months, I kind of feel like I learned what I needed to learn from him from such a distance. I think if I lived in Latvia, I'd never need another coach. But with the online thing, I learned what I needed to learn. So the programming that I offer now is a mix of powerlifting and some more generalized functional strength, I guess you could say, with a lot of arm wrestling specifics in there. But even the functional stuff is done in a particular way that pertains to arm wrestling as well. So there's a bit of a mix. My own training, look, I deadlift once every 10 days. I squat once a week. I can't wide grip bench anymore. I can only narrow grip bench. I think that over the years of arm wrestling, wide grip bench just makes my shoulders feel like they're going to explode. So I keep it. And training is mainly arm wrestling specifics, obviously, and all the general stuff. There is a carryover, except for squats. Squats are just for me. They're just for fun. So yeah.
That's pretty amazing to hear, because most of the time arm wrestlers, they forget about legs completely, and we got these big, huge upper bodies, and then they got these little twigs as legs, and it's kind of funny to watch. But it's great to hear somebody actually training legs and still doing squats.
That's just calf day, not been done in years. But everything above the knee, reg. On the reg, but no one needs calves.
So let me ask you now. So I also know, I've seen that you also pulled guys like Mike Aiello, I also seen you pulled Giannis and all that. So from getting to go against such high caliber pullers and all, what have you taken from that? Have you learned a lot? Like you were saying you would pull Devon. Like what did you learn getting to pull somebody of that experience level?
I learned a few things. One of them was how I learn arm wrestling. And it's very repetitive. The more times I need to do things, so the amount of drilling that I do, like no weight, I'm just got one of those Gripzilla handles, like the vulcanized rubber handles, or just a towel, whatever. And I'm doing coordination drills all the time. And that's been something that I learned I needed to do. It was like the strength was always there. Apart from fixing wrist stuff after Zloty. But that was the one missing piece. So strength was already there. I just needed to coordinate it. So for me, doing the drills like you would in boxing or martial arts and stuff like that, I use that for arm wrestling. And that to me has been key in coordinating my speed. So I used to be slow until I worked all of this out and the importance of me drilling. Now I'm a lot faster, a lot more coordinated, and I can just get my power down now. So what I learned, my coordination, that was the main thing I got from Devon, Mike, Giannis even. Giannis taught me more how to train properly. But again, that was a kind of an extension of the coordination that I was lacking. So it certainly wasn't a natural process for me. It was just repetition until I was, passing out.
Learning muscle memory, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to know, how many times a week do you do table time practice?
Table time's only once a week. Sometimes I do twice a week, depending on how session number one went. It kind of depends for me who's there. I don't have the luxury of having other, heavyweights that are at my level local to me. So I'm often relegated to having to do king of the table style pulling where everyone's using two arms and all that sort of stuff, and bands, and kind of adding extra things to help me along. So I'd imagine it'd be a lot like how Dave Chafee trains.
Okay.
On the table.
Are you a strong believer of table time?
Yeah. Like even though I write programs, I tell everyone who comes for my programming that this is kind of like all the weights. It's like an accessory to the deadlift. It's like a whole program without actually deadlifting to make your deadlift better. So when people only do the weights and then they hit the table after like 3 or 4 months and they go, oh, I feel like shit. And you're like, well, yeah, because you still have to do the actual primary movement. So big leap. You can't go without.
Right. So I wanted to now touch on the subject of you just had a very big super match that you just won against your friend Ryan Bowen. And I believe that was for the number one ranked spot of Australia. Mm-hmm. So how many months of preparation did you get for that match?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. And how did that match come about?
Came about, I guess, because he had got, I had super bad luck with flying around Australia and then COVID shutting things down. So I would fly to a place for a match, he'd get cancelled, which is what happened against the milkman Ryan Scott, which was going to be for the number one official spot. But the way that Ryan Bowen beat him, it ended up making that match largely redundant for me. So it came about because we could finally put on a big event. Someone put some money up. There was no one really else for me to arm wrestle, and it just needed to happen. Initially, Ryan and I kind of agreed that we wouldn't have a match because we were friends, and that if we met each other in tournament, then so be it. But we didn't want to have a match because we knew what each other were like in match prep, and didn't want to kind of put that on the friendship, So, but it happened anyway, and yeah, it is what it is. We all good.
When you, because I know you guys were training partners for a very long time. So when you train with somebody, you kind of get to know, their little weaknesses and their strengths and all. So when you went in there, were you feeling confident that you were going to get the win?
Yeah, partly because of the way I train. I think people, there's a big difference between comp ready and training. So for me, table time, like I would have trained, like I do 1.5-hour sessions just on my wrist, just on my right wrist. And I might do that the morning of table time. I might do that the day before. So no one really gets a good gauge of where I am. So I like to train the things that I want to kind of fatigue quicker when I am on the table. It can get taken advantage of. And I got to figure out a way then to go, okay, someone's got a stronger wrist than me. Where do I go? You know, let's take my main tool off me. Where do I go? So I guess he was feeling a lot more confident because that's, you know, trainings. He's had some success against me in, you know, on the practice table, but I know I'm, you know, it's a huge difference, like probably 20%. So I was very going in. So yeah.
So as you were training for that 8 weeks, so you were no longer training with Ryan. I'm assuming you guys were doing your own thing, separate.
Correct.
Okay, and now are you back to training with Ryan on a regular schedule?
Semi-regular, yeah. You know, when I have training at my house, he's invited. I just send out a big group chat, and whoever comes. So yeah, we don't really organise anything, but we're around the same sort of. So, you know, we usually see each other at training anyway. So yeah, semi-regular. Feeling good though. It's feeling real good. I think he's a lot healthier.
Very nice, very nice. Now I want to move on to how everything began with you and Todd Hutchings, how we got to today and all that. Because I remember when I first started, it was about 2 years ago, there was some back and forth going on the internet. I think I got myself all caught up in the middle of everything. And I think there was a couple of I think it was like a $10,000 bet from one of your guys where backing you. And I seen that and I was like, oh man, I got to back the USA over here. And, you know, I put up 10 grand on Todd and, you know, it just never actually went down. And also, you know, everybody's been kind of waiting for this to actually come together. And, you know, as COVID came and kind of just shut everybody down, kind of locked you guys in a cage for like 2 years and all. But recently, Travis Bagent hit me up and he was like, yo, Australia's opening up and I want to make this actually happen and all. So when I heard that, I got very excited. I wanted to jump right on this event and all. But how did everything start? I heard bits and pieces. I heard 2 years ago, it was Toddzilla came out and trained with, I believe, you and Ryan. I think he stayed at Ryan's house for a couple of weeks. And I think that's where everything started. I think you were complaining or something about Todd always being drunk. And I think he did a few seminars and you weren't too happy with some of the things he was saying. So I kind of wanted to get from you, how did everything all happen?
Okay, so when he came to Australia, I believe he wasn't well. I think I heard a rumor that he was in hospital or something like a month or something before that he came to Australia. So I don't think he was 100%. And I think he was on a bit of a holiday. So he was drinking and stuff like that. And I didn't really take too kindly to someone turning up to our country, my friends paying good money for a seminar. And look, do I think the seminar could have been better if he wasn't smashing the beers down? I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's probably quite a high-functioning drunk, but still, you know. But, you know, that really wasn't a problem until later. You know, it's when he went home and he started just being Todd, you know. He's kind of sarcastic, condescending. I called him a smarmy, etc. And after our practice, we kind of thought that a match might be viable because he was redlining. I didn't get out of third gear. I wasn't fresh. I put on my Instagram me training that morning because I knew that Todd wasn't fresh and I wanted to kind of level things out a little bit. I didn't want to come in super fresh and ready to go and just pump some guy that's been training. So I trained, but, you know, still maybe had more fatigue on his arm. He was unwell the months before. So he wasn't 100%. I know he said he was the strongest, but he's a sarcastic one, I could say. And then, when he came back, he went back home. He just started making these real smart-ass remarks, and I just didn't take too kindly to it. And then a match kind of came to fruition, I guess, with the hope that COVID was going to kind of blow over in a couple of months and we'd be let out of our cage. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. So I stopped talking about it. I was like, no, I'm not spending any energy on it. I'm not going to be down here barking like a dog in a cage, you know, when we didn't know anything was going to happen. So now we opened up. I told everyone, the second I can travel, I'm there. So thank you very much for making that happen. But I'm coming. So very excited.
So I just want to catch everybody up if they haven't seen the video yet. So the video that Lachlan is referring to is they had a practice pull, and I believe you pulled on with both arms that day, correct?
Yeah.
All right,
So,
and for what I can tell from the video is it looked like that you were getting the best of Todd that day. You looked very dominating, and I think he even said on the video that he couldn't touch your left or something like that. I see.
No one cares about left. But the right hand, at first, I was just feeling like letting him hit. He said, let's start slow. All right, so I started slow, and I kind of was letting him hit and feeling his groove. And then, yeah, cool, we switched to left. And then we go to the right hand, and I thought, I'm not going to hit, but I'm going to go first. And the pulls that you were seeing of me pulling first, he was redlining, and he just kind of fell into a spot where I was really comfortable. So when I moved first, it's just where he ended up. I was like, oh, I can kind of keep doing this all day. And then when I let him hit again, he got a couple of pins on me at the end. So lesson learned from that, hit first, hit hard.
So let me ask you, were you surprised? Because, you know, that's got to be an amazing feeling. I mean, by this time, you've only got to be about 4 or 5 years in, and you're sitting on the...
I was 2.5 years in.
2.5? Oh, my God. Wow. So you are with one of the best arm wrestlers on this planet, and you're pulling him, and you're pinning this guy. What amazing. You must be in shock right now. Are you totally surprised as this is going on?
Enough to make me feel like I want this for real. Like I want a proper match. Like I know this is practice because I don't hold stock in practice. But it was enough for me to go, right, that was kind of easy for me, knowing full well match ready Todd is a different beast, the same way I explained earlier about me being match ready. So yeah, I wanted to feel the real deal. That's what I got from that practice was like, I want real deal.
So that was back in 2019. So I just want to get kind of, where did you have yourself between 1 and 10, 10 being the best? Where would you have put your level of arm wrestling back in 2019, that day you pulled Toddzilla?
In comparison to now?
Yes.
I think probably, I mean, trying to be fair, was new. I hadn't gone as Lottie. I hadn't fixed a lot of those things. I'm a lot bigger now. I think I was about 110 kilos, same as now, but I'm a lot leaner at 110. So I'd probably put it at like a 6, maybe a 7, compared to now, where, you know, if now is 10, just to make the comparison easy. It gave me a lot of confidence going into Zloty. A lot of confidence, and we all know how that went. You know, I did well against the guys who wanted a hook, the guys who wanted a top prong. You know, I had one guy from Kyrgyzstan. He squeezed my left hand so hard I lost feeling in my thumb, and my first 2 fingers for 3 months.
Wow.
So that was a shock, big time. Like no one's ever squeezed my hand that hard. And it just shut everything down. I couldn't access nothing. He just pulled me straight over. So that was kind of lesson number 1. Hand, like we all heard hand is king, but that was like, it really is. So yeah, that practice match did give me a lot of confidence going into Zloty, and I think that was misplaced. I had a lot more to learn, obviously, and I still do. But I think I'm ready. Well, I know I'm ready for Todd at this point. I know what he's going to do. He's very predictable. It's kind of like Devon preparing for a match with Michael Todd. I know where he's going to go.
So are you training? Are you doing anything different for this? Or is there any kind of special training going on for Toddzilla, or it's the everyday same routine that you always did?
No, it's very different. It's very different. It's a lot of what I don't film. And part of that, part of the reason I don't film it, because when I watch Todd train, because he puts all his training up, I've got it on my phone or an iPad or something next to the table, and I'm training the move that's going to beat what he's training. So I'm much like the Europeans, right? I think people think the Europeans, all they do is like pronation curls. Not true. They're doing a lot of specific stuff that they don't post. And I'm much of the same vein. There's a lot of specific stuff I don't post that has been specially for Todd.
Nice. Very smart. Very smart. I also see Toddzilla on his YouTube channel, which I've been checking out. And, he's been kind of stalking your social media. He was showing us as he goes through his Instagram, and he was actually showing us the process that he goes through to doing all his observations and kind of doing his study work on you. So, I was actually just watching all that before I started this interview with you. And, it's kind of cool to see that you're kind of doing the same thing. And you guys are both studying each other's opponents. So it's definitely going to make for a very interesting match.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, is there anybody that you're working with now as far as a coach or anything that's helping you get ready for this?
Good friend Bella has been helping me out massively. Just very, very clever guy when it comes to biomechanics. I think one of the biggest things I learned from him was when you think about arm barring someone in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you get someone like me with a strong arm. If I get my wrist curled in a little bit, there's no one on earth that's going to arm bar me. I'll just keep rolling over and rolling over. So what's the first thing to do? Is we crank down on the thumb, and what does that do? An arm opens right up, and we can snap it, bar it, tap out, whatever we want, right? So that was kind of more confirmation that hand is king. So I got a lot of kind of ideas from outside of arm wrestling to try and bring in and make it specific, which was really cool. The other thing was more the combat side, which was something that I was lacking. When you were treating everyone like a barbell or like a cable system, you're not going to win because people don't feel like cable systems. So the level of awareness of adjustments and stuff like that has increased exponentially over the years. So I feel like I'm, still obviously strength wins, but for someone with a strength, that's easy for me. Building that is the easiest part. It was the coordination and the combat thinking side of things that took a little bit longer, and I believe I'm there. So that was really helpful.
Very nice.
Coming from a bodybuilding background.
So, Lachlan, I also wanted to know, what does your preparation look like? When does training stop for you?
Yeah. Okay. So I started tapering down. Had a couple of heavy sessions earlier on last week rather, but heavy on movements that aren't killing my tendons, right? So a lot of the side pressure type stuff, the internal rotation, kind of the sweeping movements where my tendons and my ligaments are having to go through like a full range of rotation, that stuff starts to go down because I've got to give time for my tendons to repair, which usually takes about 3 weeks. So 3 weeks is kind of my mark of getting rid of the twisty stuff. And I start kind of focusing on more the more straight line movements, so more back pressure, wrist flexion again in a straight line. So I'm still training my wrist at the moment. But with travel, because I kind of gain a day by traveling to the US, normally I would take 10 days off. Now I'm taking just 9 because I gain a day during that the travel time. So the 31st is my last kind of training session. I got table time on Wednesday. That'll be pretty hard out, and then I just relax. 9-10 days out. I do nothing but drill, like do all my shadow drilling, keep my shoulders healthy, keep everything feeling nice. I go get some myotherapy with my friend Paul and just cruise.
Now, when do you get into the United States?
On the 5th of January.
Okay, so that gives you a few days to deal with the jet lag and kind of just get your body all ready and nutrition on point and all.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's say that everything goes your way that day. You come out with the win and all. What is the plans next after that? If you come away with the win that day?
Yeah. So once I smack Todd around,
hold on one second. We lost you for a minute. There you go.
Yeah. So once I smack Todd around, look, my goal is. A lot of people have been pitching me against, massive dudes, right? Like guys who are, 130, 140 kilos, like 300-pound guys, right? Guys who are 280 to 350. And I don't know where they get that from because I'm 242 pounds now, lean. So my focus moving forward would be against guys within, kind of a 50-pound, not even, just like 25 pounds either side. That's when my focus is. So when I went to Zloty, 105 kilos, I think is 232 pounds or something like that. That's kind of in range of where I want to stick. So that's where I'm going to pursue guys that are in that weight class, the best of the best, whoever will agree, whoever we can make the money work. I think that's my niche. And then
so you're saying like we're thinking like maybe like 220 to like 242 is kind of your sweet spot you want to be around?
I won't get down to 220, but like my opponents from anywhere from 220 to say 260. I think that's a pretty, 40-pound, something like that, in between, irrespective of where I'm sitting. I kind of think that's a reasonable weight class for me to kind of play around in my, I'm still in my, what I would consider formative years. I'm 5 years in, compared to guys who've been pulling for 20 years, where Todd is now the giant slayer, and we've got John Brzenk, who's always gone after the big guys. And I think, well, I'm not there yet. So let me focus on my own weight class, within that kind of range, and then we can start talking about the big boys. So, yeah.
I got to say, if you come and pull this off, which, this would be a very big upset. I think it's going to stir up the world if you do pull this off. But I think things are going to really speed up for you. And, I think it's pretty much anywhere you want to go, whoever your pick is for your next opponent. I mean, you're literally getting into the top 5 in the world if you start knocking out guys of Toddzilla. So, yeah, I think you should start definitely thinking of if that does happen, where you'd want to go next with that. And then the other thing I want to also know about is what will it do for Australian arm wrestling in general, you beating, probably the number 5th guy in the world right now?
Well, we saw Mario Tambakis and Lockie Carpenter. I think they're in LA right now. They're in Washington. They competed recently and had a really good showing. I think Mario, he competed in the 232 under and above as well concurrently, and he was just running between tables. And I think
Mario was, I just got to say, that was my event we did at Washington. And oh my God, that kid Mario, what an amazing arm wrestler. I think everybody that went home that day after seeing him pull knows that Aussie arm wrestling is no joke. That boy really put on a show. And what a great time, bro. That dude really knows how to party. And he's one of the best drink makers there are.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, he's kind of famous for that here, but he ranks number 5. I would put him a little bit higher, maybe 4. Yeah, so like he's legit. So I think that certainly helped my cause coming into Todd, and certainly it gives a little bit more of a bigger picture of where Australian arm wrestling is. So like once I beat Todd, it's like cool, we have the number 1 guy in this country totaling someone who's really high up in the US, and then we've got evidence of the number 4, number 4 or 5 guy in Australia coming to Washington and doing amazingly. So I think together it really brings Australian arm wrestling some respect. Finally.
When you were just moving your arms around, I just got a glimpse of that wrist, bro, and oh my God, dude, like. Ryan sent the picture the other day, and he was like, you guys should have used this on the poster. And I looked at it, and I was like, oh my God, bro, that's Photoshop. There's no way that boy's wrist is that big. Well, I just seen it right there, bro. Yeah, no, it really is.
Go on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Your forearm literally starts at your wrist. That is impressive. So that's what an hour and a half a day of wrist training does.
Yeah.
So just how many days a week do you train specifically your wrist and your hand?
Hand and wrist. I have 2 main days just for my wrist, where they're 1.5-hour sessions. One of them's more finger focused. The other one is, way more wrist focused. So one day I kind of mix in some more finger stuff. Just that clamping and, kind of hand control. As someone who's a little bit shorter for a super heavyweight, here I got to go against supers who are, they're 6'5", 6'6", and they're just big guys. I rely on fingers to really clamp down on my opponent and get that hand control. So there's 2 days a week, and then the other 4 days a week that I train. I look, there's something wrist in there every single day. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that explains the freaky wrist.
Yeah. Trying.
Now, also wanted to get into, so we just added this onto this great event. We just added another match, and that is our host, Travis Bagent, is making his comeback, and he's going to be pulling Brandon Alcesor, who is, this boy has just been on a tear the last 2 years. I mean, just dominating the East Coast in the 220 class, both hands, right hand and left. I actually got a hold of him a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, yo, brother, you are just killing it. Everybody knows you on the East Coast. It's time to get you all over the country. So I flew him out to Washington. I got him a match with Andre Sharkovich, right hand. Dude had a war, just crazy back and forth. He didn't take that win, but right after that, he went into a 4-way with some formidable opponents. He had the legend Jacob Abbott from Washington. He had Andre Sharkovich coming at him left hand, and he had Jordan Sill, and he was the victor. He put a show on and showing that this boy is no joke, both hands. So he's going against the biggest match of his life now. He's getting the opportunity to pull Travis Bagent and all. So I don't know if you know too much about Brandon, but what do you expect from that match? And then are you excited to see Travis on this comeback?
I've watched Brandon Alcesor. Like I know who he is. I can't say how strong he is. Like we can look at someone on video and we have no idea of the pressures that are being applied through that hand and arm. So really excited that he'll be there, and I'll get to see the whole thing. I think it's a huge match for him. Has Travis
really sure if he already started in the beginning of December or if he's just starting now? So that's going to be, I guess we'll find out January 8th what kind of shape Travis is in. But all I know is that this is definitely the start. He's been talking about, I've kind of been the fire under Travis, trying to get him back. Since I came into the sport 2 years ago, I've been just pushing. And, at the beginning, he wasn't hearing any of it. He just wanted to be the promoter and all. But recently, with all the action going on, with all the money being out there, and he wants back in. So I really believe he's making his comeback this time. And this is going to be definitely a good test for him. I mean, I know he outweighs Brandon, quite a bit. But, if he is actually coming off the couch to beat somebody of Brandon's level, it's going to be an extreme test for him.
Yeah, so I met Travis in Arizona when I went and saw John. So that was about 2.5 years ago, where I had that match with Yellow, and he was getting ready for another match. So he was full ready, and that fell through. It was going to be some $25,000 match that he was going to go, and that fell through. So he was ready. So he competed, and I felt him left hand. He just took everything away from me, and I laughed my head off. Like, I didn't even bother. It was laughable, right? So a ready Travis is, not that I'm a measuring stick for back then. I didn't really know what I was doing, but he's strong, and he was ready. So if we get the same Travis where he's in Brezank's pool going, man, I might be the strongest man in the world. Brezank's wife's like, that's nice. If we get that version, Brandon's in trouble, big trouble. And anyone gets that version of Travis, they're in trouble. But Brandon, he doesn't quit. and he digs deep. So once you take Travis into deep waters, he gets that hit stopped. He doesn't seem very happy with it.
And I gotta say, with Brandon, I give him so much respect because after when I left him in Washington, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna rest up a couple of months, just let my body heal up and all, and we'll be getting in touch, and once I'm all healed up." Well, then a week later, I'm hitting him up and I'm like, "Yo, what's up, brother? You want to pull Travis left hand?" And he's like, "Oh my God." And it's like, I'm kind of, he's already beat up or whatever, but I mean, an opportunity like this, you can't pass up on this. So, shout out to Brandon. Much respect for taking this match on such short notice and all. And yeah, the kid's a warrior, man. Definitely looking forward to this on January
8th. Yeah, looking forward to it.
So I just want to ask one more question before we call it a night. Everybody in the community is talking about this big match that recently has been set. I think it's about a week ago. That's Devon Larratt is going to be pulling Levan finally. I believe it's going down in June in Dubai with the King of Table 4. So I know you pulled Devon and have experience with him. So I kind of just want to get your feedback on what you expect from this mega match.
And the match is in Dubai?
I believe it is in Dubai on the King of Table.
I think not that I like to talk about the ref, but when we've seen Devon compete against Dennis per se, the big show that Devon puts on that I think throws a lot of people off doesn't seem to happen when he's under the PAL banner. So I'd be interested to see, feeling comfortable with Larry, having competed with, I think it's Core Sports, I think is Larry's thing. But if he's more comfortable, is the showman going to turn up, and is he going to take everything off Levan and expect Levan to be the nice guy that he is? Like Levan shows up when he's competing, but he doesn't seem like he's got a lot of tolerance for, or a lot of experience at least, with people really jostling around in the setup, because the Europeans rely on the referees a lot. So on that aspect, it'll be interesting, especially if Devon gets what he wants. But it's hard to go past Levan, right?
Yeah.
In
my opinion, I believe that for Devon to have a shot, Devon is going to have to pull every trick that he has in his book. Devon's also going to have to come in pancaked out, over 300 pounds, probably the biggest and strongest we've ever seen him. But I really seriously believe that his only shot is to play Devon is on the setup. He's got to take everything he can, and he's got to get Levan rattled, which I've never seen happen before.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we've never seen Levan compete outside of the, WAF and PAL when it's so strict. There's no, you get fouled out for doing that sort of stuff, right? As Lottie, I got fouled out. They said ref's grip. They closed my thumb. They closed my hand, and all I did was squeeze. I didn't move up or down, nothing. There was no oscillating. I just squeezed, and I got fouled for it. I'm like, what? What? So if that's what he's used to, and Devon's used to being Devon and getting what he wants, then yeah, it might rattle him. Levan's a deceptively intelligent man, so he might be totally ready for it. So yeah, I'm super keen on watching that one either way. I think it's interesting enough. I don't think it's going to be a smoke show like it was with Dennis, provided because it's under a different kind of set of rules, and it's somewhere where Devon's comfortable. He's competed before. He's had the similar refs. He kind of knows what's going on. So the mental game for Devon is going to be allowed to, flourish, if you will.
And what's your prediction of the actual outcome?
Oh, don't ask me that. I don't know.
Got to put you on the spot.
If I'm betting with my head, I'm gonna go 5-1, and the 1 being a sympathy round, just so Devon, Levan will let Devon get into his spot and see if he can dig out from there, and that might be the 1. But with my heart, obviously I want Devon to win. I've got experience with Devon. He's a fantastic ambassador for the sport, and so is Levan. And I've met both of them, but I've spent a lot more time with Devon. Yeah, so I'm going to go with Devon, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I wouldn't put my own money on it.
So you heard it for yourself here.
You bet not.
There you go. So
You bet.
I'm going to stay neutral on this one. Me being a promoter and all that, I'm going to just take the neutral route. But I'm just excited that the match is actually taking place. I honestly didn't think this match would actually happen because, all the politics behind it and all. So when Core Sports announced this, I was very excited for this one.
Yeah, we all are. Core Sports is doing an awesome thing. And so are you. We're putting the matches together that people actually want to see without contracts. And so nice. Not that I was happy to see the death of WAL, but it's kind of ended a lot of their contracts. And I know Igor kind of hasn't fulfilled a lot of his contractual requirements, I guess you could say. And that's given Levan the green light to do whatever he wants. So the world of arm wrestling's in a good place right now, I think.
I think it's the most amazing thing for arm wrestling, and I'm expecting tremendous things in 2022. These great matches, and it's showing that we don't need just one big organization that's monopolizing everything. That everybody could be part of this. Everybody could be setting super matches, and all it is helping arm wrestling grow in general, and that's what we all want at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%.
So before I call it a night, I just wanted to ask you, is there anything else that you want to say to Todd for January 8th or anything for our subscribers?
Well, join you, subscribe to you first and foremost. But to Todd, no, I think he knows what's coming. And I think he's nervous. His last couple of videos seem to be setting himself up for a, hang on. Yeah, lost it. I think he's setting himself up for a gracious loss.
There you go. So just one more time for everybody, all my subscribers. It's going down January 8th in Purcellville, Virginia. We have race to 4 between Lachlan Adair, number 1 ranked in Australia, versus Todd Hutchings, aka Toddzilla. We also have on the undercard, we have Travis Bagent making his big comeback, left hand, and he will be pulling Brandon Alcesor. So everything's going to be on pay-per-view, and you could see it on Ryan Bowen's YouTube channel, which I am going to put that link in the description, and make sure you go and subscribe to Ryan's channel as well. And Lachlan, I'm also going to put down your YouTube channel in the description, so everybody can come over to Lachlan's channel and just subscribe and help everybody out grow. So
I might
you say that again, Lachlan?
But I might start posting again on YouTube. It's mainly Instagram. That's kind of my main social media that I hop on. But yeah, I'll jump on YouTube again.
All right, so we'll put that Instagram link on there for you. And just like I said, you remember Toddzilla was going, that's where he was stalking under you and checking out all your videos. And he actually made a video of how he, studies his opponents and all, which was pretty cool. So you should definitely check that out as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I will call it a night right then. It's getting pretty late over here. And I just want to say thank you for coming on my channel, Lachlan. And I look forward to meeting you in person January 8th. And I wish you the best.
Yeah, you too, man. I'll see you soon.
Have a great night, Lachlan.
See you, man. Bye.